So this video will be for our training for our water conservation technology activity. And so again, you will have a blue tarp where you will start the students to begin the activity, and then we will have a game that we're going to show you, a relay game set up off to the side, and we'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Again, when you start the activity, you want to make sure you introduce yourself first, and then this activity actually jumps right in. So you start with asking the students, do you think this cup is technology? Now you will get a whole bunch of different answers, and some of them, well, most of them are going to say no, because it's not a cell phone or not a computer. Most students, especially fourth graders, do not believe it is technology. So the next question you want to follow up with is, well, if we did not have this cup, how would you drink water? So oftentimes kids eventually get to the response that we would have to use our hands, right? And so you want to discuss with them, well, if they use their hands to drink water, is that going to be easier or harder than using a cup? And obviously it would be harder, right? You would lose more water. It's not as easy as a cup. So we want to get to the idea that technology is anything that helps us do something easier, quicker, or faster. And so a cup is technology, and we use lots of different types of technology in order to help us save water. We also want to ask them, how much water do you think we use on average for a person a day? And we want them to guess, and you're going to get answers from 5 to 5,000 because they're fourth graders. And you want to encourage participation, but then you can show them this jug that we have, and you want to make sure it's filled up with water. And then I suggest you actually pass this around to all of the students so that they can feel how heavy this is. And you want them to guess what it is. And this is a 1-gallon jug, right? So on average, we actually use anywhere from 100 to 120 gallons of water a day, which is a lot. Imagine carrying around 120 of these in order to use the water we need. I do want you to make sure that the students understand that we're not drinking 120 gallons a day, but that amount of water is what we use throughout the entire day for everything we do, washing our dishes, flushing the toilet, taking a shower, and even watering our yards. So now that we understand we use a lot of water, we want to ask the students, how do we get that water to our homes and our schools and our buildings, right? Hopefully they come up with suggestions like pipes and systems. Also, they might, depending on what activities they've done before, they might come up with wells. And so you can talk about all those different systems and ways that we do use technology to get water to our homes. Does that help us save water? It could, but it could also help us waste more water. Because how easy is it when we go into our homes, turn on that faucet, and that water just pours right out, right? Technology has made water so accessible and easy for us that we actually can waste more water if we don't make good decisions. So the next part is now you're going to break the students into 3 groups because we're going to play a game and see how we use water every day in our lives. So this is where you will number your students off by 3. So 1, 2, 3. Make them hold up their fingers or they instantly forget what number you have assigned them. And then we'll break those into groups and we're going to play a relay game. So this is an example of how we will set up the game. You will see that there on the day of, there will actually be 3 rows of the exact same activity. So first you're going to have a bucket in the front filled with water. Then we're also going to have 3 signs. So the first station is doing the laundry. The second is take a shower. And the third is our leaky faucet. So you do want to set them up in those, in that way, 1, 2, 3, okay? Now, this is a little bit of the confusing part, but you're going to have each team, right? Team 1 line up in one row, team 2 line up in another, team 3 in the third row, and only the first person in the team rolls the dice, okay? So when I roll that dice, if I roll a 3, every person in that team is going to do each one of these 3 times. If the other team only rolls a 2, then they are each only going to do it twice. So not every person rolls the dice, only the first person in that row. Now, I will quickly demonstrate how we do that. So again, the goal of this game is that the students want to move the water from the front bucket to the last bucket, and we are not telling them that they are conserving water. So it's okay for them to make a mess, spill the water as they go. They're just moving it from the front bucket to the last bucket. So at the first place, you're gonna get a scoop of water and you're gonna spin around like it says do the laundry in a circle 3 times, or whatever number you rolled the dice. So you'll spin around in a circle. Then the student runs to the next station, which is the shower. And so you're gonna pour the cup in, the whole cup, and catch it at the bottom. Just a note, this is the one where the students try to cheat, especially if one team has rolled a 3 and the others have rolled a 2 or a 1. They don't want to do it 3 times. So have your chaperones or teachers assist with you and make sure those students actually do it 3 times. Then at the very last station, the students can hop on 1 foot the number of times that they rolled. Again, no matter how you explain this, you will have some students that are going to hop all the way from the second station to the third station, and other students run to the third station and then hop on 1 foot. Either way is completely fine. We're out here to have fun. And again, make sure you encourage the other students that are not doing the actual relay to cheer on their buddies and to encourage everyone have a fun time. Then at the end, the student will pour that cup of water in the bucket at the end of the relay, run back as fast as they can, pass that cup to the next student, and everyone in each team will get to go once. So then after the students finish the relay, after each student has had 1 turn, then you will bring the bucket that's back here up to the front so that you can pour the water back into the front bucket so we keep using it and conserving it. But before you do that, you're going to take your ruler and measure in each of the buckets how deep it is. And so normally you can see that was only about 1 inch that was left. And you'll see which one has the most water and that team wins. So anywhere from 1 inch to 2.5, if you're really lucky, maybe 3 inches. So as soon as they're done with the relay, you do want to have the students sit back down on the blue tarp, but keep them in their 3 groups. And I'll explain why in a moment. But then you can quickly sum up, well, who won and why do we think that team won? So obviously if they rolled a 3, they probably wasted more water because they had to do each thing more times. And that could represent maybe a bigger family at home. Or maybe they run the dishwasher more or the washing machine more. So quickly talk about that. Then you're gonna have our technology bag, okay? So in here are 6 items and you'll have 1 bag for each group. So then you can hand each bag to each team and let them go through the 6 items and explore it. And oftentimes they may not know what all of them are, and you can ensure that they are all clean and not used, because that will be a question that the students will say. So then the nice thing is you have these ID cards. And so what I do is after they've had a couple minutes to look through them, then I will get their attention again. And all I do is actually hold up a picture and say, who has this one? Now in this case, there should be 3 of them out in the audience, right? So have them all hold that up and ask if anyone knows what that is. The nice thing is for you as the teacher, it does tell you what they are on the other side of the sheet. Again, you don't need to read this entire thing, but there are a couple key points. So for this one, it is a dual flush toilet handle. So you want to talk about at least making sure that they understand, remember that 1 gallon jug that they held up at the beginning, that a normal toilet could use anywhere from 3 to 5 gallons every time you flush, versus a high efficient toilet or a dual flush toilet could use as little as 1 gallon per flush. It's up to you how much you want to get into the 1 versus the 2 flushes, and if it's yellow, let it mellow conversation. Then we have our next item. This one, most of them don't know unless they have a plumber in the family, but this is actually our toilet flapper. So again, with this one, I actually really like to share this one because first you need to explain that the toilet flapper goes in the toilet tank and helps the water from leaking into the bowl. And they can actually do an experiment at home but they must get permission from an adult before they try it. But if they put some food coloring into the toilet tank and do not flush the toilet, if that food coloring color leaks into the bowl of the toilet, then you know you have a leak and you may need to replace your toilet flapper. The toilet flapper is made of rubber, and so with our hard water here in Arizona, it can, after a while, get dried out and crack, which causes that leak. If your toilet leaks, it could leak up to 200 gallons of water a day. So it can be a silent but very big leak. So that's a fun experiment to do. We also have this little guy, our aerator. Again, students may or may not know what that is, so you want to point out that it goes at the top of our faucets, or at the end of our faucets, I should say. And the way this works is it adds air to it as the water comes out so that we're using less water, but it still feels like a lot is coming out. Again, a great way to point to your gallons, hold up that jug. A regular faucet could waste up over 2 gallons every minute, and just by putting on that little aerator, you reduce it to less than half. Awesome technology. Then we have this one. Again, students may or may not know what this is, but this is our drip irrigation. Great to refer to the pictures again and explain that there's different sized hoses that you can use and tubing to make sure that we're only watering the plants that need the water, and or we're taking that water directly to what needs it, rather than those big sprinklers where we have a lot of evaporation or runoff or water flowing onto our sidewalks. Now we can take that water directly to what needs it. So that is our drip irrigation. So this is one of my favorites because this is an easy fix for everyone. If we let that hose run without anything on the end at full speed, it can actually waste up to 30 gallons a minute. That is a ton of water. But just by putting that hose nozzle at the end of it, we can stop that. And then you have different modes where you can use a little water if you just need to water a plant, or more water if you're going to wash your car or something. But we're stopping that water from just running when we don't need it. Our last one is our high efficient shower head. Again, this kind of works just like the aerator. Okay, but again, you can show that instead of wasting 2.5 gallons, we can get it down to maybe 2. And although that doesn't seem like a huge difference, because we spend a lot of time in our showers, it does make a difference over time. And again, this is adding more air as the water comes out, so we don't use quite as much water. So as you can see, we have 6 ways now that you can discuss and share with the students of how we can use technology to help us conserve water. So once you have that, I highly recommend that you have the students help you put all those technology items back in the bag before that whistle blows and you send them on to the next activity. And then hopefully you have enough time to quickly discuss with the students again other ways that they may want to help save water at home, but make sure we get across that point that technology can make it easier for us to waste water, but it can also make it easier for us to save water if we make good decisions and use the technology in our homes and schools and offices.